But also, very notably, some of the evidence that came out post-conviction actually made Cantu look worse, like a lot worse. Right? According to CBS, his attorneys filed a post-trial affidavit saying Cantu privately admitted to the murders before the trial, which is something they say affected their defense strategy, with them also adding that a state-sponsored psychiatric evaluation could have shown that he was a sociopath. But then even without that, the district attorney says that he's convinced that the evidence against Cantu was still solid.
Any number of things, including his fingerprint directly marked on the magazine of the firearm that he used in the murders, the presence of the victim's DNA on the firearm that had his print on it, the victim's DNA on the bloody clothing found in his apartment.
And so we ended up seeing this last Tuesday as both state and federal appeals courts denied Cantu's request to stay the execution, leaving Cantu's life in the hands of the only person who could give him a reprieve, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. And he did not do that. So yesterday at 6:47 p.m., with protesters outside, Ivan Cantu was finally put to death, with him reportedly strapped into a gurney and given a lethal injection, which also is a method of execution that is especially controversial because of the potential to cause agonizing pain. Which actually, on that note, coincidentally, at the same time that Cantu was put to death, another death row inmate was being strapped down in Idaho. But reportedly, 3 different medical team members tried and failed 8 times to give him the lethal injection, either because they couldn't find a vein, or they could, but they had concerns about vein quality. So they ended up attempting sites in his arms, legs, hands, and feet, but all to no avail. So he is still alive, and also very lucky, because Idaho says that it's not going to try again before his death warrant expires, meaning he'll have to either obtain another warrant or he's just going to keep on living. But I'll close this by bringing this back to Ivan. What are your thoughts on this specific case, as well as what are your thoughts on the death penalty these days? And then, where is Kate Middleton? What the hell is going on? Those are questions you've likely seen on your timeline this week, both from and for people who usually don't give 2 shits about the royal family. Me, I'm talking about me. The fascination about the royal family, I do not get, but this is all over my timeline. Right? But the reason people have been sounding off is that Kate Middleton hasn't actually been seen in public since Christmas, which is generally seen as a very weird thing for such a senior member of the royal family, with concerns starting back on January 17, when Kensington Palace announced that she was admitted to the hospital for a planned abdominal surgery, saying that she would remain there for around 2 weeks before finishing her recovery at home, but also noting she wouldn't be able to pick up her duties until after Easter, with people then finding it odd that they didn't say what the surgery was, questioning if it was really pre-planned, curious about why in-hospital recovery was so long. And with this, it is worth noting, of course, that everyone has the right to undergo medical procedures in private and recover on their own time, but this also has at the same time, that's not how the royal family works, where their very crafted public image involves a lot of updates on their lives and health. I mean, we're talking about a woman who stepped out for public photos 7 hours after giving birth, and so a lot of people found this lack of transparency out of step, especially since the news came at around the same time we learned that King Charles was having his health issues. And still, no sign of Kate. It's weird, but again, life goes on. That is until this week, when Prince William, her husband, was last minute unable to attend a memorial service for his godfather, with him citing a personal matter. And you might think, okay, well, people cancel plans all the time. I do. Hell, it's what I do almost half the time. I mainly just want to be invited. The going, it's debatable. But again, we're not talking about normal people with normal lives. We are talking about the maybe most tediously scheduled and curated entity on the planet. So it raised eyebrows, with people wondering, does this cancellation have anything to do with Kate's health? Now, notably, in that update, a palace aide said Kate's recovery continues to be going well, but that did absolutely nothing to stop rumors. And if anything else, it actually made them even worse, with Twitter absolutely lighting up this week with every conspiracy about Kate Middleton you could imagine. People wondering, what could be going on? Why won't they even share a photo of her giving 2 thumbs up to show she's okay? Or you people saying, oh, she's getting plastic surgery. She's dead. She and Will are separating. A Spanish journalist claiming she was actually in an induced coma. I mean, the list of things goes on and on. This also, as people were saying, if she really is just recovering from surgery and the palace is protecting her from the press, then they argued that shows a double standard in the royal family. Right? And that's because Meghan Markle previously said that when she was dealing with suicidal thoughts, she was actually denied care from the firm because it wouldn't be good for the institution, saying reps told her that there was nothing they could do to protect her. And that's in line with claims Prince Harry's made that the family refused to help the 2 of them as they dealt with relentless and racist tabloid attacks. But this is now Kate is apparently getting incredibly private care. A bunch of walls are being put up around her to prevent any tabloid from seeing her, which is why you have people saying things like, the last 2 months have shown everyone that the royal family could have protected Princess Diana and Meghan Markle. They chose not to. And with all this, people just slamming the royal family and the institutions around it. And again, people saying at the very least, it's odd, noting that even the king has been photographed since we learned that he's dealing with cancer treatment. And so with all the theories and the outrage spreading online this morning, you had a spokesperson basically telling HuffPost that everyone needs to shut the fuck up, saying Kensington Palace made it clear in January the timelines of the princess's recovery and we'd only be providing significant updates. That guidance stands, and still claiming that she is doing well. But to the growing number of conspiracy theorists, that kind of just sounded like the palace saying, we told you, we locked Kate in a dungeon. She remains in said dungeon. What do you want from us? Right? And so with this, you had people saying a statement like this is exactly how you stir up more speculation, not stop it. And so yeah, that's the story. There's a massive rabbit hole of even more speculation out there. It is a wild one. And so for those of you that care about this, I absolutely would love love to hear from you what your thoughts are about this whole situation. But again, as far as myself, it's been very fascinating to watch the reaction, but maybe it's just a me thing. I just don't get the infatuation around the royal family. Maybe I'm just a dumb heathen, I don't know. And then Universal Music Group is fisting what is wrong with my brain? UMG is doubling down on its fight against TikTok, with now multiple stories this week showing that this feud is going absolutely nowhere. Starting with the fact that UMG is now removing even more music from the platform, which if you missed that news, UMG actually pulled its catalog from TikTok around a month ago, and that over issues regarding artist compensation, AI protections, and more. And then this last Tuesday, they went even further, not only taking down songs that it owns recordings to, but publishing rights as well. Because music ownership and contracts, they're super complicated, and actually multiple people and labels can have claims on one song for different aspects of it. And as places like Variety explain, this latest wave impacts music made in collaboration with UMG contracted songwriters. Now, UMG's writers include some very big names. We're talking Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, SZA, Bad Bunny, and more. And outlets like NPR noting that a few songs that were previously available, like SZA's Kill Bill, Doja Cat's Paint the Town Red, and even Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, they're now starting to get taken down as part of this phase. And of course, this coming after music from people like Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and Olivia Rodrigo already got the axe. So this dent that already exists is now just getting bigger and bigger. With sources telling Variety that UMG actually has a claim to the majority of songs on TikTok. So you have TikTok saying that the number is closer to 30%. And also, regarding TikTok, yet again, they condemned UMG in a statement, saying it's working on removing songs written or co-written by those tied to UMG's publishing arm, but adding, their actions not only affect the songwriters and artists that they represent, but now also impact many artists and songwriters not signed to Universal. UMG is showing no signs of backing down, with its CEO, Lucien Grange, speaking during an earnings call yesterday, further condemning the company, saying there must not be free rides for massive global platforms such as TikTok that refuse to meaningfully address issues around AI, platform safety, or pay their fair share for our artists and songwriters' work. With them then even kind of minimizing the role TikTok has in the music industry, saying, I mean, let's put this into perspective. Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, all the social categories, the fitness categories, digital radio, Sirius, Pandora, iHeart. TikTok is one. It's not a material part of the multidisciplinary jigsaw where we promote and market our music globally. And this, as UMG's chief digital officer, Michael Nash, also brushed off how the company is being impacted by all this, and saying there could be a shift to places like YouTube Shorts, noting that half of TikTok's users also use other short-form platforms, and notably those monetize at a higher rate, so that could make up for revenue loss. But this also while they claim that there's been no discernible negative impact on digital business overall, and adding, in fact, we have seen a slight uptick in terms of frontline consumption and catalog consumption over this short period of time. And all of this, as they noted in their earnings call, that quarterly revenue rose. With that, largely thanks to the likes of Taylor and a handful of other artists like the Rolling Stones and Drake. So with the money hose apparently not stopping, at least not yet, it's really not surprising to hear that sources tell Variety that people don't expect a resolution with TikTok to be quick. But I stress, this is still early days. What I think we're kind of witnessing is a game of digital chicken. It's just a question of who blinks first and what the compromise will be. And if not that, how big is the wreck and who gets hurt the most? And then I think most of you beautiful bastards know that one of the ways that I unwind is, giving myself a little gaming time. I find it relaxing, and now I also find it rewarding thanks to the sponsor of today's show, Mistplay. Because Mistplay is a loyalty app for gamers. Whether you're looking for a little help covering your Amazon purchases, daily coffee, Fortnite battle passes, whatever, with Mistplay, you can earn rewards simply by discovering and playing mobile games. And they offer a huge catalog of games, including puzzle, word, casual, card, strategy, adventure, and more. And the way it works is that the more you play, the more points you earn. And the more points you earn, the more eligible you are to redeem gift cards from your favorites, from Amazon, Walmart, Visa, Xbox, PlayStation, and more. I mean, really, over $100 million in gift cards have already been redeemed. And, when I downloaded Mistplay, I started earning points when I found new games for me to play, like Arena, Free Fire, and Wordscapes. They work my brain in different ways. So combine gaming time with earning time and download mistplay.com/DeFranco, or click the link in the description to download Mistplay for free. You'll get 200 bonus points for signing up today. Plus, use code DeFranco50 inside the app for an additional 50 free points, which helps towards redeeming your first gift card. And then this entire damn program is a sham, and at least one person has died because of it. That is what the Manhattan DA's office is saying about a construction safety company right now. Specifically, we're talking about Valor Security and Investigations, who are one of the largest providers of job site safety training for construction workers in New York City. In fact, between December of 2019 and April of 2023, they certified more than 20,000 workers, saying each of them had completed 40 hours worth of safety courses. And that certification is necessary for construction workers. But those 40 hours of training, they're not recommended. They are required by law in order to work on major construction sites, including most mid and high-rise projects. But the problem here is that according to a new indictment from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the workers certified through Valor never actually received any training. In fact, according to prosecutors, Valor and its executives ran a massive scheme, selling thousands of safety certifications to paying customers without providing the necessary training, with them reportedly charging between $300 and $600 a piece for safety cards and certificates. And at one point, prosecutors say Valor's president president and founder even expressly told his employees via email to make up a safety card for 40 trainees who didn't already have one. And the company's training director once offered to provide a 40-hour training certificate to someone the very next day. Right, so unless they have a fucking time machine or they're throwing these construction workers into the hyperbolic time chamber, seems like obvious